What is up, bros? Welcome to the All Bros podcast. I'm Caleb, and unfortunately, Rose got caught up at work, so I did have to enlist the help of my unofficial third host.
Yes, I am here. Yes,
No!
it is I. It is I. Crash from Crash and Taz's movie Cellar. And the rest of you, you've been chosen by a higher power, so welcome. It is so good to be on here. And, man, this is probably the biggest reveal since Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield on No Way Home, which that's not been confirmed yet, but this has. Ladies and gentlemen.
That is amazing.
It is Crash. Oh, DJ, how's it going, my friend? We got him. Oh, we got him. I've been waiting for weeks.
Dude, that was amazing. I quit. I am no longer the official third host.
And mic drop. There it is.
By the way, I thought that was for a second. I thought that was like recorded audio. I was like, oh, they did a fun little thing.
No.
Dude, he's been on mute since you joined the video chat.
By the way, now it makes so much sense why we had all the mic problems during this.
Yeah. By the way, I during your whole little thing, I was telling Caleb, I sent Caleb a little message, facepalm guy. And I was like, you see, this is why I'm unofficial number 3. Problems persisted, and I said, and he's number 5. So, Beth, welcome. You are the next unofficial number 4. All sis? All bro? I don't know. Chicks can be bros. That's been established.
The first all-sister.
There we go.
I mean, listen, that is a much better choice. So, I can go and get her, and she could probably wing it better than I could do with my handful of notes.
Oh, shit.
What's up, Crash?
What's up, man? What is up? We have been planning this for weeks now, and
was it for this one specifically, or was it just for one in general?
It was for, well, I heard that you were going to be on there. So I think I don't know if I missed the first one or if I just forgot that week was going to be The Matrix. But then I hit up Caleb and I was like, I got to get on there. It's like, whether he knows it or not, I got to get on there. And then Caleb came up, actually, I think it was you, Caleb. Yeah, you came up with the whole idea. Like, dude, we could just, like, surprise him. I was like, yes, introduce your next co-host, and I'll be like, what is up? And we surprise him.
Kick the door down. What's up, brothers?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, yeah.
This is an awesome... Wait, so you, please, by the way, how funny would it be if you didn't? Did you watch the movie, too?
I did.
God, I am so excited right now to know what two babies think of this movie.
I am the oldest baby. Let me just like throw that out there.
Out of all 3 of us?
Well, of the 3
out of all
that
3
you're
of us, I'm the
babies.
youngest.
Okay. Oh my goodness. All right, well, my stupid plan, I'm putting that away. The top 10 streamers that streamed.
Easily one of the best things that I've done with this show in ever.
I'd say this goes as like this was tied for number 1. The crossover episode was pretty good.
I was gonna say.
Oh, fair enough.
And coincidentally, we both happen to be on both of those, so just...
I mean, is it a coincidence? I don't know.
I don't know.
It's a glitch in the Matrix.
Oh, shit.
Topical.
Yeah, well, with this week, unfortunately, since Rose isn't here to do his 4K Spotlight job, We do not have anything to really talk about with Through the Wall. The only thing that I kind of had was that Spotify did their Wrapped thing and kind of hurt my feelings. But
What do you mean?
have you seen like the Spotify Wrapped?
So
Things?
you showed me the thing. I looked. How do you even get to that? Because I'm like looking through my Spotify app and I can't find how to find that.
They have like just some thing that you can click on. I don't know what it's like.
Is it
where
on
you
the
can
app?
find. Yeah, it's on the app.
Yeah. Oh, all the song. No thanks. Okay, sorry. I should probably stop looking at my phone. Yeah, I'm interested to know because it's what you're talking about is like it tells you like what all your top listened to stuff is, including podcasts,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, like throughout the year and stuff. A
Yeah.
lot of
I'm
them put-
interested to know because I've gone completely to Spotify. Like I was hardcore like Google Podcast guy forever, and as soon as Joe Rogan went over there, I was like, nah, I'll just switch everything there.
Yeah. So I have our podcast connected to my personal account. So I got the Wrapped for our podcast, and then like my own personal one. Like my own personal one was fun because it's just like, oh, like that's the music I listen to. But the one for the podcast like really sucked ass. 'Cause
Like
they're
what
like,
your top ones were? Because I need to know now. Because was it like
no, so
like
not
the Coco
so-
Melon
so-
theme song for your kid or something?
no.
So like his is gonna show him more of like what was listened to him like by that's right.
Yeah, so like my personal one tells me like what music I've listened to and like the podcasts that I've listened to, which I think some of those are bullshit because I just started listening to some of those like this year and just like was binging. But I think it also goes on like episode length. So unfortunately, Crash, you guys did not make the top 5 because your episodes
Son
are
of
short.
a bitch. They are shorter, I know.
Yeah. So yeah, I got those, but then I also get like a separate one for the All Bros. Like instead of it saying like, "Oh, who's your favorite this that," they like give me the stats of the show. And
Really?
yeah, so that one's like not super fun. There
Yeah, but there's nothing more fun for an independent podcaster, dear listener, than looking at the numbers sometimes and you're like, I am for sure doing this for the love of the game.
Yep.
Yeah, no joke.
Which, by the
'cause I
way,
got-
by the way, I will just say it makes the people that like reach out to you and that even if they're just throw a like on a post or something, like it means so much more because we're like, oh, so you're one of the 10. Neat.
Yeah. Yep. Before our month hiatus, I think I mentioned like the numbers specific, like our numbers specifically from our show, just because Taz doesn't see any of those things. He comes in and records, and I take care of the rest. So I shared some of those, and I mean, it's sometimes disappointing, but like you said, you're doing it for the love. You're doing it for the love of the game.
And the other thing too that I try and keep in mind is like because we've been or at least in my opinion, I've been doing it for so long. You're like, well, clearly the numbers would go up, but the fact that there are numbers at all, like you know what I mean, because they could be 0, but they're not.
That's definitely the mentality I kept.
yeah, that's the one we got too. It's just like, hey, we haven't had nobody listen to our show in like 7 days.
I mean, listen, I'm not doing anyone any favors on the All Bros podcast feed by making a 17.5-hour podcast with you guys. Like, I'm sure people see that and they're like, really? My whole week is what you want from me?
I think what really sucked. So they had like like they started off really nice. They're like, okay, 6 people listening to your show more than any other show that they listen to, and I'm like, oh, that's nice. And they're
You're
like,
welcome.
6, yeah, and yeah, right. I'm like, okay, I know at least 2 of them.
Me and my mother.
And then they're like, 6 people listen to you on a weekly basis, and I'm like, nice. I feel like I know
those
2
same
of
2
them.
people.
And then the last one was like your average listening time is 23 seconds. And I'm like, oh, that feels great.
So they listen to the intro and they're like, cool intro, next show.
That's
nice
exactly how it is.
timpanis. I appreciate it. Bye bye.
We have a 3% retention rate.
Just shorten the intro, and then maybe they'll.
No, I worked hard on that intro.
P.S. You just told me that I'm not looking at those numbers later when they show up.
Oh, great!
It's a little disheartening.
But it's good because, by the way, who in a million years, like, think of like when you first started this podcast, like how in the world would you ever imagine that us 3 would be here doing this on all sides of the country?
No.
Yeah, absolutely not.
So it's worth it to me for that. So I'll take it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks to everybody that listens to any podcaster. That it's such a nice, gratifying feeling.
It really is.
It's like
It really is.
Someone that's not family that has to listen to me wants to listen to me. This is great. So yeah.
Lucky some of us don't even get family listening to our show.
Listen, some of us get family they wish wouldn't listen to their show.
Hey, wait a minute. I resent that. Thank you very much.
Okay,
We're
well, no,
family, brother.
you get, there's like one. Like everyone else, my family does not listen to it because they think it's stupid.
Imagine having a normal job and being like your hobby is stupid. You know what I do for my hobby? I go home and I put my pills into little separate vessels that say MTWTF. But your hobby's dumb. Did I take all my A vitamins today? I don't know. Let me check the pill vessel. Sorry for making fun of your family. Listen, don't make fun of people.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So other than that little humbler from Spotify, we don't have anything else to really talk about.
What do you mean? You're the #1 Monster House podcast on the internet, I heard.
Oh my gosh. It's not even that one. It's we sell like a shirt, and they're not even like adult shirts. They're kid shirts.
Like kid size shirts or just kid art? That's. But by the way, you might have just figured it out. Like that's maybe what your market should be. Is like get all the like Pixar and whatever. Like just make that only in kid sizes because of course kids are going to want to buy that. And you know what kids do? They grow. They're going to need a new size in like 6 months. So that is the racket. We all need to quit our podcast and make a kid clothing line.
There it is.
And that could be the thing that we only have 6 subscribers to.
Yeah. If you go on, like, no joke, if you go on TeePublic, like right now, and just Google or just search Monster House, ours is the first one that pops up. So
I actually want to see that.
Speaking of, thank you to whoever bought the Monster House pillow this week.
Somebody's getting spoiled with their favorite podcast merchandise this Christmas.
We need Monster House updates every week now.
Like, no joke though, we've sold at least 8 items in the past month. All Monster House.
That's not bad though, man. That's really good.
I know that's like $16 in our pocket, so.
Considering most people just spend money to buy stickers and buttons to then send them out for free, and by that I mean buy stamps and envelopes, I think you're coming up good.
Yeah, it's not too bad. Oh, well, yeah. So I have. Usually, when we jump into the news segment, I'll just do the thing.
Hello, my name is Brucker Nurse, and I want to tell you about my fun horror movie podcast called Autopsy of a Horror Movie. On my show, I like to have fun dissecting out what makes a horror movie scary, what worked for it, what didn't, what types of fears does it play off of. Is it an allegory for any sort of message? I don't know, but let's find out. Also, I like to watch slashers. I'm a big slasher guy, so I'll watch a slasher and do a kill grade for it. I will cover the kills and I will tell you how I would grade it based on shock, method, style points, and a fourth category that is a reflection of the movie. Besides those, I'll have fun with special topic episodes, commentary tracks, interviews with guests, including some Shudder directors, so I just like to have a fun time over here. If any of this sounds interesting to you or you just want to come check me out, please head over to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere they listen to podcasts and search for Autopsy of a Horror Movie. Also be sure to find me on Instagram at Brucker Horror, where you get fun updates and some cool little posts that I do. Thanks for listening, and I hope that you get to enjoy the show, and I'll see you on Instagram. Bye.
Now, Brucker's the one with the terrible Scott Pilgrim opinions.
Jesus Christ, you're in my brain right now. I was seriously about to say, is that the guy? Actually, I'm going to go in unfiltered. I was about to say, is that the bastard that shit all over Scott Pilgrim? Get out of my head right now, DJ. You
yes,
might earn your way back up to number 4. Sorry, Beth.
It's going to be a long episode, so I might make my way down to number 6 by the end of this.
Yes, that is the Brucker that has the not super great opinion on Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Listen, no one should hold that against him. He's a great guy, I hear, but he's just got a few bad opinions. It's fine. Like, we all have our faults. It just happens to be glaring and wrong.
Dude, you have, with that episode, when we sent out that list for everyone to be like, hey, give us like a quick little score of whatever movies you want to do. And when he like sent, like, because I had just listened to his episode about Scott Pilgrim, and I knew that he didn't like it, so I just assumed that he wasn't going to do Scott Pilgrim. So when he sent us like the failing scores for Scott Pilgrim, I'm like, are you shitting me? Like, damn it.
This guy, I gotta go and listen to because honestly, he needs to come on here, I feel like, and he really needs to like go point for point and be like, listen, this is where this is terrible. This is what I'm willing to be convinced. You can convince me something that I think is good is terrible, but I mean that is a long road, sir.
I'll make a note and send you the link to his Scott Pilgrim episode, because it's not like his new show is the Autopsy of a Horror Movie, but he did Film on the Rocks before that, and so yeah, I'll send you the link to that after.
I mean, at least the podcast was named correctly. Film on the Rocks. That's a great podcast to have a bad opinion about a movie on.
Dude, that show was super cool. So they would like discuss the movie, like just discuss everything they liked, disliked about it, and then at the end they would come up with drinking rules for the movie.
Brucker, I hope you're paying Caleb for all this, because this is like way above and beyond. Like, whatever you're paying him for your ad spot, you need to double it.
Oh, jeez. Hashtag not sponsored.
Yeah. Everyone go tag Brucker and be like, why aren't you paying Caleb for all those ads he's giving you for Clearly, he's doing it under duress, even though you have a good show. I think that you know what I like about this podcast is I don't know why it brings the I want to make enemies out of me. Like I'm not normally like that, but I just come at everybody for no good reason. Like if that guy hated me, I would completely understand and apologize.
Dude, nothing's better than a good podcast rivalry.
That's the sad part about Vic and I becoming friends is, we
it's almost gone.
I had like such like good burns planned, and now they're just gone. I have to, I guess, use them on Brucker now. It seems wrong though. Does he listen to this show on a regular basis? I want to know if he's gonna really truly hear me. Like Brucker, hi.
I mean,
my name's DJ.
if he's got his what's it called on here, he should be listening to this thing at least.
I'll be 100% real. I do not know if he listens to this at all. I just went through.
Hunt him down.
Like I went through all the people that I like and was just like, hey, send me a promo, and then just kind of got whatever I got, which I only have like 4 promos.
Dude, okay, everyone's job this week is to hit that dude up and be like, hey, did you hear what the All Bros were saying about you this week? It is so awesome. You are going to love it. If you don't normally listen to the show, you're going to want to hit this episode up.
See, that's where we just like comment. So when Caleb puts like an Instagram post or something, everybody comment and they tag them on everything. Just be like, dude, look what he said about boom, and then they're like getting all these notifications from different social medias like, what the hell got said on this episode, and then that's already more than 23 seconds. You're already up for next year. So
yeah, all you 23-second dorks, you're missing this gold right now.
Just wait till what I say about Brucker at the end of this episode.
Oh my God, you won't believe it. He told us what he's going to say before we started recording. That is going to be unbelievable. You will never believe it.
We freaking love you, Brucker. We just don't appreciate your opinion on Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Some people would call it an opinion. I would call it a fallacy.
So anything nerdy related you guys want to talk about, or you guys want to get straight into the breakdown?
Can I just give you guys, I saw this article from Esquire today that said the 10 best TV shows of 2021, and I've only seen one of them, and I only recognize 2. And can you tell me how far out of the loop I am?
All right. Let's hear him.
Let's see. Number 10 was a show called Made on Netflix. M-A-I-D.
Heard of it.
Made.
Heard of it. Have not watched it.
Okay. What We Do in the Shadows. Of course, everyone has heard of that show, right?
I've heard of it. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, didn't watch it.
Ted Lasso.
Did
heard
not
of
watch.
that one. Soccer. I think that one's about soccer, right?
Not a clue.
Okay.
High on the Hog. Another Netflix joint.
Don't know that one.
Nope.
Doopity-doo. The Chair. Also on Netflix.
Nope.
The White Lotus on HBO.
I've heard of it.
We're here.
Unless it's Uncle Iroh's secret organization. I don't think I've heard of that one.
Special mahjong chip.
Which, no. Jonathan, when you're listening to this, you should know by now.
This frickin' guy. A show called We're Here on HBO.
Heard of it.
I haven't heard of that one.
And here's where we get into it. Number 3 is Squid Game. Have you ever heard of that one?
Heard of it. Haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I also
plan
have
on
not seen
watching that.
I am planning on watching it when I have time to actually sit down and read.
Yeah.
Number 2 is Mare or Mar, M-A-R-E, of Easttown.
Nope.
And number 1 is WandaVision.
That one's good.
Hey, I've seen that one.
By the way, can I just tell you, WandaVision, the only one I feel like that does not belong on that list at all. Like, that was just such a, I read that list and was like, this is such, am I this far out? Or like, are these just nothing shows? And I'm glad to know that it's either I heard of it or what is this nonsense from you guys?
I know a lot of people that have watched Squid Games and they really like it. That's why I said I haven't watched it yet. So I don't know. I don't know about that one being like.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say I don't know about it being unpopular, but I know for me, it's hard for me to watch new shows and series and stuff like that. So.
I will say this about Squid Game. I heard a Korean lady talking about this. She was like, because people have been like, oh, you got to watch it, the subtitles, because that's the way it's meant to be, blah, blah. The subtitles, I have heard, are wrong. Like, they're not like so wrong that you're not getting the correct message, but wrong enough that like a couple words are changed in ways that which might have been fixed by now, but initially when it came out, this lady's like, yeah, it changes just enough that like it's not necessarily what they were intending to say. So suck it, people that say listening to dubbed is no good. You suck. Stop reading and listen to shows. Don't read them. It's like learning Braille when you can already see. Like, what are you doing?
Jeez. Oh, shit. I feel like DJ has a very strong opinion towards people that like sub over dub.
Well, it's the people that are like, will get up in your biz about it. They're like, dude, you don't watch it in the original dub or sub? I'm like, no, I didn't come here. I came here for entertainment, not a half school assignment.
See, I got lucky. I have friends that they watch anime and stuff, and I've started getting into anime more and more. And before, with the exception of Dragon Ball, like, you know, I've always preferred the dub, but then my friends, I know they prefer sub, but they were never like in my face about it, but they do, I know they do prefer it, and I've actually switched over to that now, but it's, I mean, it's not terrible.
Listen, I don't have a problem with anyone's personal preference. It's once people get into the wars of like, dude, you're not listening to it in its original way it was intended, where it sounds like everyone is doing a racist depiction of just their normal language.
Yeah.
Was it you, DJ, or was it the angry dad that sent the best / worst sub versus dubbed anime thing?
It was probably Ben, the angry dad, because he is deep in the anime game. So I would imagine, because anything anime related rarely comes through my timeline on TikTok.
Okay, there was this hilarious TikTok that he sent me of the subbed version versus the dubbed version. And the subbed version, there was this dude running laps, and like I think it was his brother was trying to cheer him on, and or like just get him to run a little bit faster, and he's just like, run, like, so that's what the subtitles say, are telling him like, run like your life depends on it. And then his brother like freaks out and is like, and then like just goes, and he's just like, oh, it's like 0.5 seconds faster, and he's just like, okay, well, all right. And so, and then they jump to the dubbed, and there was the same thing. It's just like, run, and then then it goes, run like there's a big black man chasing you, and then he like freaks out, and
that was me.
You said, and you know what? Caleb said that to me, and I was dying when I saw that. So like
why would they? How did they get so far off the point? That's amazing. Also, I always wonder in stuff like that if the voice actors are like, for real? I gotta say this? Like, I don't speak the language, so I can't double check you, but you're sure? Okay. Chinese people are racist.
I don't watch anime too often, so
Listen, the last anime that I watched was Attack on Titan, and I think I got through most of season 1 and like an episode or 2 of season 2, and I was like, yeah, I get it. They're giant and they eat people. I'm done. They live in a fishbowl. Got it. One of them sort of turns into a Titan, kind of, and one of them can talk later. Cool.
Yeah, I've watched the One Punch Man dubbed, and that was super weird. And then I've watched some of Attack on Titan.
One Punch Man interests me. Like every time I'm like, One Punch Man to me is like The Witcher 3. Like I almost am on the cusp of buying that game when it goes on sale, and then I look at a review of it, and I'm like, I wouldn't enjoy this at all. And then One Punch Man is kind of the same way. I'm like, I think I would like this show, and then they're like, yeah, it's just a guy that he's bored because he can kill everyone with one punch. I'm like, yeah, I've seen all the Matrix movies. I get it. He's having an existential crisis.
This show's like super weird because they have like all these side characters that will do like the crazy like spectacle fighting, and then he comes in and then just one hit.
him.
Yeah, one punches them. And it's like super lame, and everyone, it's so weird because it's like there's like a superhero hierarchy. So you're graded on what kind of superhero you are, like on whatever the European rating system is. Like the S is the highest rating or whatever. And so like there will be some villain that comes in, like completely destroys everyone, and then he'll go and one punch him, and then suddenly everyone's like, oh, he must have not been that hard to beat.
Oh wait, so people are just like they just don't believe it. They're just like, oh, this guy, he just shows up after the bad guy's been beaten up enough, then he can one punch him.
Yeah, that's exactly what everyone thinks. Like a bad guy comes in, freaking like wrecks everyone, like all the other superheroes, and then he comes in, one punches, and they're like, oh, well, he just took credit for everyone else's doing.
Look at
Like,
his
well,
stupid bald head.
They loosened the lid on the pickle jar for him.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly that kind of stuff. So, anyway, anything else you guys want to talk about, or get right into Matrix?
I had my terrible list.
Yeah, no, I'm good. I'm good for the Matrix.
Alrighty, let's do it. Alrighty, like we said, this week's headliner will be our breakdown of The Matrix Reloaded.
Jeez. It's been headliner for a while, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Hey, at least I didn't say main event.
Damn.
Dude,
Why do you
I'm
gotta
gonna
do Rose like that, man?
I know.
He's not even here to defend himself, poor guy.
Dude, one of these days we're going to have a throwback episode where everything's like what we originally had. Like original theme song, original segments, like all of that fun shit.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, but if you guys are new to this breakdown system, we've split movies into 8 different categories that we individually score to come to a final All Bros, Untrained Eye, and Crash and Taz movie grade. The 8 categories that we score are story, writing, acting, character development, effects, music, costumes, and then we give it our own personal grade at the very end. Then all of that magic gets added up together and spits out a grade house letter grade for us. Unfortunately, I failed to post a question of the week again because other than the red pill, blue pill, I did not know what to post about.
Well, Crash, what would you have picked, the red or the blue pill? Because I'm blue pill gang all day.
I have to remember what the what were your options on those again? Blue
the red
was
pill. Yeah, the blue pill
basically
was the one that like basically makes you forget everything. And then the
Blue
red
pill,
pill
you
is the
stay
one
here.
that opens your mind.
Yeah.
Damn, that's tough. You know what? I'd rather just not know. So probably blue pill,
gang.
right? Yeah. Yeah, man. Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah. That is a great cipher quote.
All right. Well, if you guys have not seen The Matrix Reloaded, you have had many, many, many years to watch it. So if it gets spoiled for you, it is your own fault. Past this point.
2003 is a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
Been long
so, unfortunately, we have a Reading with Caleb episode. So, every time I
It's
do one
only
of these...
unfortunate. It's only unfortunate because now everyone's going to see who's worse, him or Rose.
And by the way, you've got a lot of work to do, sir. I'm looking at it right now. This is like, after you read this, I think the show's over.
Yeah, every time I do one of these, I feel really bad for giving Rose such a hard time. Like, especially after freaking Dune. Like, that one was rough.
Dune wasn't
Not only
fair.
not only that, he's looking up like a Wikipedia summary, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So I mean, in his defense, who's to say some dumbass put like even spelled something right? You know what I mean? Come on.
Listen, Dune nerds, do not ever, ever question a Dune nerd. They will tell you about a worm that lives in the sand all day. Like, that's the only thing worse than a Star Wars geek is a frickin' Dune nerd.
Alrighty. Well, let's get into
do it in one breath.
Story.
Go.
6 months after the events of The Matrix, Neo and Trinity are now romantically involved. Morpheus receives a message from Captain Niobe of the Logos calling an emergency meeting of all ships of Zion. Zion has confirmed the last transmission of the Osiris. An army of Sentinels is tunneling towards Zion and will reach it within 72 hours. Commander Locke orders all ships to return to Zion to prepare for the onslaught, but Morpheus asks one ship to remain to contact the Oracle. As the Caduceus receives a message from the Oracle, one of the Caduceus crew, Bane, encounters Smith, who reveals that his previous encounter with Neo severed his connection with the Matrix and has made him a rogue program. Smith then takes over Bane's body and uses the phone line to leave the Matrix into the real world. In Zion, Morpheus announces the news of the advancing machines to the people. The Nebuchadnezzar leaves Zion and enters the Matrix, where Neo meets the Oracle's bodyguard, Seraph, who leads him to her. After realizing that the Oracle is part of the Matrix, Neo asks how he can trust her. She replies that this is his decision. The Oracle instructs Neo to reach the source of the Matrix with the help of the Keymaker. As the Oracle departs, Smith appears, telling Neo that after being defeated, he refused to be deleted and is now a rogue program. He demonstrates his ability to clone himself using other inhabitants of the Matrix, including other agents as hosts. He then tries to absorb Neo but fails, prompting a battle between Smith's clones and Neo. Neo manages to defend himself but is forced to retreat from the increasingly overwhelming numbers. Neo, Morpheus, and Trinity visit the... Oh, here we go. Merovingian, who...
They literally say it in the movie.
I mean, fair. The Merovingian, who is imprisoning the Keymaker. The Merovingian, a rogue program with his own agenda, refuses to let him go. His wife, Persephone, seeking revenge on her husband for his infidelity, leads the trio to the Keymaker. Morpheus, Trinity, and the Keymaker flee while Neo holds off the Merovingian's henchmen. Morpheus and Trinity try to escape with the Keymaker, pursued by several agents and the Merovingian's chief henchmen, the Twins. After a long chase, Trinity escapes, Morpheus defeats the Twins, and Neo saves Morpheus and the Keymaker from Agent Johnson. The crews of the Nebuchadnezzar, Vigilant, and Logos help the Keymaker and Neo reach the source. The Logos crew must destroy a power plant, and the Vigilant crew must disable a backup power station to prevent a security system from being triggered, allowing Neo to open the door to the source. Haunted by a vision of Trinity's death, Neo asks her to remain on the Nebuchadnezzar. The Logos succeeds, while the Vigilant is destroyed by a Sentinel, with everyone aboard perishing. Trinity replaces the Vigilant crew and completes their mission. However, Agent Thompson corners her and they fight. As Neo, Morpheus, and the Keymaker try to reach the source, the Smiths ambush them. The Keymaker unlocks the door to the source, but the Smiths shoot him dead as he closes the door. Neo meets a program called the Architect, the creator of the Matrix, who explains that as the One, Neo is himself an intentional part of the design of the Matrix, which is now in its 6th iteration. Neo is meant to stop the Matrix's fatal system crash that naturally recurs due to the concept of human choice within it. As with the 5 previous ones, Neo has a choice: either return to the source to reboot the Matrix and pick survivors to repopulate the soon-to-be destroyed Zion and his predecessors, or as his predecessors all did, or refuse, causing the Matrix to crash and killing everyone connected to it, which combined with the pending destruction of Zion would mean humanity's extinction. Neo learns of Trinity's situation and chooses to save her instead of returning to the source, to which the Architect responds dismissively. Trinity is shot as she and Agent Thompson fall off a building. Before she hits the ground, Neo flies and catches her. He then removes the bullet from her chest. As she starts to flatline, Neo reaches into her heart and revives her. They return to the real world where Sentinels attack them. The Nebuchadnezzar is destroyed, but the crew escape. Neo displays a new ability to disable real-world machines with his thoughts, but falls into a coma from the effort. The crew are picked up by another ship, the Hammer. Its captain, Roland, reveals what other ships in defense of Zion were wiped out by the machines after someone prematurely activated an EMP and that only one survivor was found: the Smith-possessed Bane.
Can I take some umbrage with some of that? Really just one part. When it says oh, god dang it. Did I lose it? No, I didn't. Neo is meant to stop the Matrix's fatal system crash that naturally recurs due to the concept of human choice within it. I literally just got done watching this movie like an hour and a half or 2 hours ago, and that is exactly not it, because what he said is that until the Oracle figured out that humans needed choice, when they didn't have choice, that was when the system crash would happen. Because there were at least 2 iterations that the Architect talks about, where he says, the first one he created was perfect, the second one he created was chaos, but what the Oracle figured out was that they needed, even if it was at a subconscious level, the choice to be in the Matrix. So Wikipedia, I disagree with that one line. Wrong, I say.
Yeah, I think for me, like, all that shit kind of got really confusing.
I mean, listen, do we want to go in order, or do we want to just dig right into the psychology of this weird movie?
And we can get into the psychology of this. I wanted to experience the big screen idea of this, so I watched this in VR.
You bastard.
Dude, it was dope. But seeing all of the effects on the big screen kind of made them stand out like real bad.
Yeah.
That movie was about
sure they
as
did.
2003 as you get.
Oh, yeah.
Have either of you guys seen the Dancing Dobby gif?
No, no, but it already sounds
No?
hilarious.
I actually have that pulled up just so I can, I don't know, try and attempt to, let me see if I can turn, here we go. I don't know if you guys can see that, but that's kind of like what I think of when I think Matrix.
Yeah, I mean, I figure
how
we'll
they've
get
held
into
up.
that. We'll get into that, I would imagine, with effects, but god dang it, dude. Spoiler alert, when they used the effects properly in the first one, they were like, but we have $100 million now. I mean, what are we going to do with all those $100 million?
Effects that are not going to hold up.
Can we? Sorry, even that, just that the only reason to talk about effects in this movie, got so much to say about it.
All right. Well, we will get there. So let's start with, like I said, with story. So we don't have your score yet.
I don't know whether I should go first or last because I'm gonna give the story. I'm debating between an 8 or a 9, and really the thing about the story that I was really the disservice I'm doing to myself with these Matrix movies is I'm having to watch them in chunks, and I'm not watching them just straight through like with The Notebook. But like the thing that struck me immediately that I was like, we don't need this in the story was the backstory of Morpheus and Captain Locke, battling over this lady. I'm like, that didn't need to be. Like, he could just hate Morpheus because Morpheus is clearly a very charismatic guy. I said it in the last episode about The Matrix. Like, he is clearly a cult leader, and I think that we see that come to full fruition in this when he gives the "Can you dig it" speech in Zion. But Locke. The reason I think the story gets, I'll give it a 9 because even though I disagree with like her being the reason why they hate each other, like I really like that I really like Locke a lot. This isn't a reason to like the whole story, but I like him because he's the only one that we see that's actually correct. Like he is the only sane person that we see. Like everything we see, we're seeing from the perspective of the people that we like, but really those are the crazy people. Because this dude's like, yo, the machines are coming. Like, we need to protect ourselves. And they're like, no. We got computer Jesus here. He's going to save us all. And he's like, what?
Now drink
so
your
you
punch.
Want to go with a 90?
Drink your punch and have your close dancing party. With your quote unquote clothes.
Shit.
Yeah, it was.
So I'm going to give it a 9.
Out of 100?
Like 90. Like, I can give it a 9, so our average becomes a 55.6.
Well, okay, just to go even further with it, I think that a lot of stuff that was kind of like alluded to as far as the story goes. Well, what are your guys' scores, just so I can defend myself?
So I gave it a 72, and Vic gave it an 86.
And I don't know why I'm going out of 10. I'm gonna go. Then I'm gonna go. I'm a moron. I'm gonna give
my
it a
show
90.
goes out of 10, but here on the All Bros, I know it's okay. At number 5, it's tough to remember these things, but don't worry. Here at the All Bros,
I'm the last one on the
speed.
email chain. I don't know why I did that. I'm very embarrassed now. No, but listen. I would. I don't think your guys' scores are bad because, but I do think the reason I would score it so high, even compared to the first movie, is because it pays off a lot of things that get talked about. Because I honestly forgot. Going back to watch these movies, I forgot they didn't go to Zion in the first Matrix. I don't know why I just remembered them going back there, but that was clearly I was remembering them going back in the second movie. You get to see, you got like a glimpse in that movie of what's her face, Trinity's, the fact that she has an affinity for motorcycles, and we got all the car chases. We got her in a Bugatti doing like cool stuff, jumping off buildings, doing crazy stuff to ghosts and whatnot. Like you got to see like more. I know this is gonna go more to character development, but like you got to see Morpheus. Like watching Morpheus go from the beginning of the movie to the end of the movie, to me, is worth the price of admission. Because that dude, like, nobody wants to be Morpheus at the end of that movie. Like, I don't know. I thought it was good. I thought it was good, especially compared to the first movie, because I agreed with you and Rose, Caleb, that, like, I had a lot of nostalgia for that movie in the sense that, like, yeah, I'm like, yeah, it was a great story. It explained everything, but it really did. It was, like, real fast. Like, it was, you know, it made you assume a lot of things, and if you didn't assume it, it was really, it was hard to make those logical leaps if you weren't willing to already be there with it. But I think that's where this movie, even though it was still snappy enough, like, I think it took its time a little more to be, like, not necessarily flesh anything out too much further, but I think it just gave a little more time with everybody.
Yeah, this one kind of had like a complete, like, at least for me, it had a completely opposite issue where the Matrix was taking things very like fast and quick paced. I feel like this one took everything like super slow.
Okay, listen, we all, even at the time, were like, yes, we're still dancing for 14 and a half minutes. Why are we all still dancing? Like,
yeah, it wasn't even necessarily just that part. It was also the opening with Trinity and her, like, the vision of her death. It was just like for one, it had like a really weird cut. Like, I had to rewind because I thought like I dozed off.
what do you mean? Like what part were you like, hold on?
It was when she. Okay, it was like right when you like get the intro where she's just like, I'm in, and then suddenly she's like in the middle of a gunfight. I'm like, wait, what the hell? And then she like looks all beat to hell, and I'm like, wait, what the shit? Like, did I miss something? And so I like rewound it, and I was like, wait, what the hell? And then the way that they were, when she jumped out of the building and turned around and started shooting, the shooting went on at least 10 shots too long.
I feel like that movie still was coming off of like the hangover of like older school movies that would start with like where you would do the start at the end. You know what I mean? But they kind of tried to like do it a little differently by saying like, no, this is Neo kind of seeing the future, not, you know, even though technically we did that, like it's more than just, you know, earlier in the story this happened.
Yeah, I mean, the starting at the end thing didn't bother me at all. It was just the fact that like, for one, that weird cutscene where it goes from like her just entering the Matrix to being beat to hell, like within a second of each other, and then the super long sequence of her falling that seemed to go on for like 5 minutes. Like I like, no joke, I was texting Rose while I was watching it, and like with a VR headset, so I like kind of picked it up, was texting Rose, and it was like during that scene where she's like falling, and so I'm like, I text Rose, put my headset down, and then she's still falling, went up, finished my message, sent it, put it down, and she's still freaking falling.
To me, that is all too
Austin
like
Powers and Goldmember. You're still just falling. You got time.
That was one of the things. Again, this might be an effects thing, but I guess you could kind of call it a story thing. Is like, because I feel like because they had so much more money to do this movie, like the way they used bullet time in the first movie was like really to show like in my mind, it wasn't that time was actually slowing down. It's that like we were able to slow down enough to see the craziness that they were doing, and it's almost like they forgot that's what that was all about. And that, I get that it was like this crazy gunfight in the air while they're falling, but yeah, hearing you talk about it like that, I'm like, again, like that's my own nostalgia for it. Is I'm like, yeah, I remember seeing that in the theater. It was awesome. What are you talking about? But yeah, they did like they set. I feel like it got better about it, but between that and that dance scene that happens in Zion, you're like, is this just going to be long scenes of like not really anything happening? Is this what we're all about?
I feel like the Matrix, the trilogy, I haven't seen the third one yet, so this might be like just completely out there, but I feel they could have edited this movie down about maybe a good half hour by taking out the super long excessive scenes and if they did the same thing with the third one, which we'll get to in a couple weeks, I feel like they probably just could have cut a lot of more shit out of that movie and just made the Matrix duo.
Well, that's the thing too. This was another thing of like where I'm pretty sure they made these two movies like back to back.
Yeah,
because
they
were
both
released,
came out in
I'm pretty
2003.
Sure. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I knew they came out
Yeah.
either year after year, or real close to each other like that. But it's I agree. Like I have seen the third movie, and I do think that hearing the idea of it being cut into one movie, those two being cut into one movie, there was a lot. By the way, I'm changing my answer. I'm gonna go back to I think I'm gonna go to an 82. Because I know we're going to talk further about this, but like now that we're really talking about it, like I feel like there is a lot of fat that could be cut off of this that, again, like I am very nostalgic for this movie and this trilogy as a whole. Like this will always be my favorite group of movies. Like it's the movies I would watch forever. But you're not wrong.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that they could have cut out was the weird not being able to spend time with each other relationship with Neo and Trinity.
Or flesh it out in a different way. Like it was it was like, I get it, but like there was no point to the boning down scene. Like that wasn't like, cause I mean, if you wanted to say like, oh, okay, well this was where the actual one was born. Like we thought Neo was the one, but actually it's this kid. But no, none of that.
Jeez, I feel like that scene was just like just in case you guys didn't realize this is supposed to be an orgy.
Hey, listen, they were all wearing clothes. They were just very see-through. And everyone was just mysteriously wet and like doing that thing where they like flick their head back, and the water just comes out. Yeah.
Yeah, that shit was weird.
Yeah.
Listen, this movie gets really like the actual weird stuff about it, like getting more towards like the middle and the end, like once the weird stuff starts happening, like with Bane, and then like really at the end of the movie with Neo, and kind of what they start to explain through the architect and through the Oracle, and even a little bit through the Keymaker. Like that's why, like, I don't know. Even still, it's hard to bring it down to what I brought it down to. Like I'll keep it where I got it because you're right, but I think that the bad in this was definitely bad, but the good, like, I would like to see if there is someone that is willing to or has made that cut where they have cut the fat out of this movie. I would like to see that version.
I think one of my big issues
Agreed
with this, like overall, at least once it got to like the meat of the story, was it was kind of hard to, at least for me, to kind of figure out what their ultimate goal was.
Well, he didn't know. I mean, if you think like when he goes to talk to the Oracle, he straight up is like, I'm the one, but what do I do now? Which is kind of, to me is the idea of like, you have this one goal in mind, like in life, and then you get there, and then what? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I've reached the top of the mountain that I set for myself. Now what do I do? Like, I'm here. I don't know. Do I just go around and fight crime, or what? I can fly now? I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I think that's what might have thrown me off. Like, I think
Yeah.
no one knowing what they were doing really threw it off. I feel like at least Morpheus should have known, and maybe just like withheld that information from Neo, and then just like do a little bit of an exposition dump, like right before he's going into to meet the architect. Because it was just I had such a hard time finding the motivation behind getting to the source.
Right.
I think in my mind anyway, it came, instead of coming as a dump, it came in drips, and maybe that was part of like what made the movie so slow. Is because it started with the Oracle, because he just comes to her like, I don't know what to do. What do I do? And she straight up tells him, you know what I mean? She's like, this is where we're at. This is where you need to be. You need to go back to the source. Like that is your goal. Your new goal now is the source. And the first step in bringing yourself to the source is finding the Merovingian / the key, or finding the key maker, and you can only find the key maker through the Merovingian. And it kind of keeps going from there. Because I mean, if you look at what happens right after that, like he basically is fighting. He's fighting his demons. He's fighting off his demons, because now he's got this basically other part of him. Because they are linked now. Because he not only like knows when Smith is around, like he knows when agents are around. So I don't know. Like it's this. I'm so afraid for you to watch the third movie, because you're either gonna just love everything or hate everything. Because it's like such a big concept that they're trying to convey in this weird way that I barely understand. And I don't know, man. Like, help me. Someone help me.
Like, what did you think about it overall, Vic?
I mean, for me, this was a movie that I remember like as a kid watching this one and enjoying it more so than the first. But I think now, this feels like one of the slower ones, and it's kind of hard for me to understand why I even as a kid liked it more. I don't know. I think because I don't know. It just, for me, I watching it now, it's just I don't know. I couldn't get into it the way I used to anymore. Something about this movie. It was hard for me to like pinpoint it, but I mean, I know I like the story. I like where it leads us to, and which is closer to the end, I guess. Not to like make that sound awful. That's not really meant to sound that bad. Sorry, DJ. I don't mean to put down one of your favorite movies, but
no.
I feel like the concept of this movie was really good. It was the execution that kind of sucked.
Yeah.
So I think that's why people hold it in such high esteem.
Right.
Well, it's a thing too. I think of like, it's like they had more time, they had more money, they wanted to obviously go more philosophical or lean more into the philosophical side of what they were trying to do. And part of that was like, here's the problem, I think, is because one thing that I noticed about this movie is that they definitely tried to give you a lot of context through these conversations that he was having with the Oracle, with the Merovingian, with the Keymaster, or the Keymaker. Even though the Keymaker didn't say much, I would argue that what the Keymaker had to say to him and he said to the Keymaker were probably some of like how they should have treated the rest of the conversations that were had. Because even like with him and the architect, like the problem with watching someone try and write deep, in-depth conversations is that Quentin Tarantino exists. And I'm not saying he's the best at writing like conversations, but what I am saying is that when you have a director known for writing amazing conversations that people like still talk about today, vis-a-vis Reservoir Dogs, like it's very hard to be like, all right, now what I'm going to do is what that guy does amazingly. Hi, we're the Wachowskis, and we're on a mission.
Yeah, I feel like it's so hard to reach that Tarantino level of dialogue.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, I don't know. Like, I wish I knew a little bit more how the inner workings of like movie making. But when it comes to like writing, I would try and get with whoever, like whatever aspects I really like about other directors, I would try to like grab some of their pieces. So like if I wanted Tarantino level dialogue, I'd go to freaking Tarantino or one of the writers that he uses often.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way in hell that I would try doing that by myself. Like I feel like that's just a super high bar. Like how do you even get close to reaching that?
Well, and that's the thing, is like that is what this movie clearly wanted to rely heavily on, was getting points across through conversation. And I mean, I feel like they did a good job only because I was like super on board. You know what I mean? Like I am like my brain is wide open. I'm like, yeah, give me all the juice. Tell me about the werewolves. Let's go. And yeah, but the reality is like it doesn't. I've said it too much already, but like it doesn't hold up. It's more nostalgic in my brain than it is actually held up throughout all these years. Yeah, I'm getting sad, guys.
No, but I'm with you. Like I said, it's on another watch. Not second, but on another watch, at least as an adult, versus versus my childhood side of my brain. Like there's definitely that nostalgia there. So going in like, oh, I'm so ready. I remember enjoying this movie. Like then you kind of go in and you're like, oh, there's problems. there's some issues here. Yeah.
I think
There's
looking
nothing
at it
worse
with,
than getting your childhood nostalgia just crushed.
I think that like one of the big things with watching things with nostalgia goggles is like, how old were you when you went to see this movie, or when you saw it for the first time?
Let me see. I was 19 or 20.
All right, what about you, Crash?
Let's see. This is 2003. Jeez, I had to be about I don't know, almost 10 years old. 10 or 11.
Yeah. So I think with that, because I feel like I've watched this before, but I was like really young. I was still in high school. Like I'd say it was maybe 14, 15.
When you saw it for the first time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only one I'm not 100% sure I've watched is Revolutions, but I'm pretty sure I've watched this one before. But yeah, I remember liking it a lot too. But I also feel like trying to think of what I liked about it. I think it was just all the action. Like all the action, I was on board for. Like, oh, this is super cool. Like this concept is really cool. I wasn't really digesting all the intricacies of this movie like I am now as an adult.
Right. That's the other part, is like watching it that young. That's the one thing that's gonna, grab your attention, is all the fight scenes and the action and everything that, I remember now, as a kid, like watching movies like this, and it's like kind of not really paying attention to what the hell's going on or being said. You're just waiting for the fist to get thrown. You know what I mean? You want to see people catching some hands, and watching it now as an adult, like I said, it's different.
Yeah, and then going to the weird dance scene, you're just like, oh, like that catches your attention as a young adult.
Like,
You're
hold
like,
on, I think that shirt is see-through, and your eyeballs pop out of your head.
Should I be watching this? Probably not, but I'm going to.
What was I gonna say? Well, that was the thing too. Is I'm probably wrong about this, but like I don't know that there were like a plethora of like big action set piece movies like that. Like for sure, no one had ever even conceived of like having a fight along a highway on top of a semi truck. Like that was amazing. Like I remember, like it was stuff like that, like the Sarah fight at the very beginning whenever he was going to meet the Oracle. Like even though some of the stuff, even with Trinity at the very, very beginning, like even though like watching it now, you're like, Jesus God, it takes forever. Like the Sarah fight, like it's not, it just looks cool. Like there's not really much happening if you really look at it, but like there wasn't a lot of stuff. Like I remember when like I felt lucky when like a new Jackie Chan movie would come out, because I'm like, finally I'm gonna get to see some like cool like jumping around and kicking and doing awesome stuff. And this movie was, in my mind anyway, kind of like an extension of that, because you got to see all this really cool stuff that like didn't seem, because there were action movies, I'm sure, but not to that level. I don't feel like.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I'm sure someone was like, dude, Last Action Hero came out in 2003. You're an idiot.
Yeah, I think it was just motivations were difficult. Like I understood the motivations with the people of Zion and them being like, "Hey, we need to face this machine threat," and I was all on board for that. I was having such a hard time being on Morpheus's team for like, because it, like, I didn't I still have a hard time understanding, like, is he trying to shut down those machines? Like, what's the ultimate goal?
By the way, you reminded me, one of the other really good, it was short, and I think that was one of the things good about it. The other good conversation that Neo had was with that councilman, when they ended up going down and looking at the engineering section. And he said probably one of the most important things in the movie. He was like, he was talking about the difference between them and those machines that kept them alive. And, we could just, the difference is we control them, we can destroy them. And his point was, can you? Because if we destroy these, then where is our clean water? Where is our clean air? Where is our, well, they're close to the center of the earth, so their heat is still going to be there. But like, there's this weird, like, symbiotic relationship that, by the way, goes all the way through to when he talks to the architect, by the way, because even when he's talking to the architect, and the architect is giving him that, basically the ultimatum of like, save Trinity and doom humanity, or doom Zion and start again so that humanity can live. Like, Neo mentions to him, he's like, oh, well, maybe I will just kill everybody. And he's like, we have measures that we would be willing to stoop to. Like that, people talk about the architect conversation about being like, one of the high points of the movie. I think that point kind of makes it one of the dumber ones, only because Neo just kind of brushes that off of like, oh, okay, well, I guess they would just do what they had to do and not use humans. What? Like, we saw, one of the things we saw in the first movies was the fields and fields and fields of people that were fueling the machines. Like, the architect in theory should be super worried. Either that, or the architect should either be worried that he is going to do that and possibly kill those fields and fields of people out there, or maybe it's not exactly what it seems. Like, maybe there is going to be a similar outcome no matter what he does. I don't know. Like, I was just thinking about that when I was watching the movie today.
I was super confused with the screens behind Neo, the ones like showing all like the different reactions of him, like some that were getting angry, and like, were those the like replaying the different iterations of him, or was that just like all of the possible outcomes of, like, I had like, what was up with that?
That's what I was. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure there's a piece of trivia out there that tells the real answer, because it's not, you can't tell by what the architect is showing on those screens, because like if you look, like initially he's showing, it looks like basically just like B-roll footage of the first Matrix at first, when he's like, we've been watching you this whole time, because you see him like in the interrogation room with Smith, you see him like on the side of the building, like you see all these different things that were happening to him, which it seems, well, I don't know, but I feel like if I had to guess, I would say it is all the different iterations of him. And even though there were only 5, like, I mean, could you really differentiate more than like 2 or 3 things that were said by the other Neos? You know what I mean? Because like it was just a cacophony of all these people or all these Neos talking at once, and I don't think you could really pick out more than like, if you could pick out a handful, I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I think it was just the ones that got like super angry or were reacting very emotionally, and like our Neo was like very cool-headed the entire time. So it was like I think that was like a big thing. Like I said, motivations were just confusing. Like when they went to go to the Merovingian, like I don't understand that. Like there was so much about that interaction I didn't understand. Like the biggest thing was like I feel like I understood why the wife was betraying him, because she was like super pissed off that he's been doing whatever the hell he's doing. But the fact that she went into this room with the guards, killed one of them, and then let the other one escape like with the sole purpose of telling her husband, like why would you why was that a thing? Like, or was that just because we needed another fight scene?
I think that, and like all of those like rogue programs seem to be like agents of chaos, because if you look, like the Oracle, like she's calm, but she is an agent of chaos. Like she literally had a place in the first Matrix where people went to find out if they were the one. You know what I mean? And like the architect later calls her the mother of the Matrix. But she even says, she's like, she's not even really interested in Neo or the humans or whatever. She's interested in the future. Like she says that when she's talking to him. And I think that Persephone and the Merovingian, like the Merovingian says it, but you can only imagine Persephone's been with him just as long, as they've seen at least a few of the iterations of the one and survived through it. And I've got to imagine it's like, you know how you see sometimes like rich people portrayed as like they have so much excess, they just do things just for the sake of doing them, not for no other reason than they're just being ridiculous and difficult. Like they kind of struck me as that, is like they've done everything, they've seen everything, and now they're just. I think she said it too. They both said it to each other as she was leaving the room talking. He said to her, he's like, because she was busting his balls about going with that girl in the bathroom, telling her it was just a game. And he's like, why would you do this to me? And she's like, it's just a game, darling, and just walks out. I think that little exchange tells exactly why that happened. Like they are just screwing with each other. Plus, we needed bullets to all stop in midair in front of Neo.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. All right, I think we can easily move on over to writing. So the final story grade or score, it came to an 80.
Okay.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, so talking about writing, I actually boosted I went up from story a little bit, just because I did think that there was a lot of really cool dialogue. Like the conversation, or not the conversation, the big speech that Morpheus had was sick.
Yeah.
And then there was like lots of like really heartfelt, or not heartfelt, like weird philosophical discussions that were had, like between Neo and like the architect and the what's his name,
Well,
the
like when,
Merovingian,
I like when he's
and
with the.
even with like and the counselor dude. Anyway, sorry, I didn't mean to cut
I
you
mean,
off.
just with the. No, you're good. You're good. I was just kind of going off of what you were saying. Just the conversations and stuff that he's having. I mean, it's more on the acting too, I guess. But you feel, where there's urgency, you feel it. The concern, everything. Like, I like just how that really, it's really transparent and almost tangible even for the viewer. Kind of, and a lot of that I think is more tilted towards maybe the actor. I don't know, but yeah, no, the dialogue I appreciate a lot more now versus before. So.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that.
I too agree. Yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I think we said it when talking about the story. Like, I don't think it all hit the nail directly on the head because we have such good like conversational movies that exist. Because this is what I'll say. I love all of these like big conversations that they try and have, and I especially do love the one with the architect. But god dang it, dude, that one with the architect, it killed me because that dude, I'm like, hey man, we get it. You're real smart. Like, you're in the room, okay? Like, if you say ergo one more time, I'm gonna come through this screen and rip your beard off your face. You frickin' Colonel Sanders looking.
One person I didn't understand, like, why they had this character in it all. Like, what's up with the kid?
Which kid?
The one that's like obsessed with
Yeah.
Neo.
Yeah, I mean, because to me, it's this thing of like the furthering of this like cult thing of like, you just have.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, you've.
I was just gonna.
Go ahead.
No. You're probably gonna say it better than I can.
I was gonna say is that Morpheus has been promising that Jesus was gonna come back forever, and then Jesus came back, and now you have people. I mean,
yeah.
I think he is supposed to be like the analog for all the people that are now willing to basically put their lives on the line for him. Like, and you get to see that in kind of a broader way whenever they get up to to going to their room, and then there's everyone there waiting to like make their I mean, sacrifice is the wrong word, but what's what's it called? Why can't I think of the word when their offerings?
Martyrdom.
That's for later.
Yeah.
Like
that's for the Matrix 3.
There's like offerings, like a sacrifice, like
not the. It's a word.
Like sacrificial.
There's a religious word. It's right on the tip of my tongue. It's frick. I don't know, but offering to me it's a good enough replacement. It's like this is them being like, this is all. I mean, clearly everyone has basically nothing, and they are coming here to be like, this is the best of what we
like
have.
Their tithe.
Kinda like what was it called when they would give, like when the people would go and they would bring like the firstborn lamb or like the best part of the harvest or whatever to make their sacrifice or offering, or there's a word. I mean, it's gonna kill me, and I'm sure someone's saying it right now. But I mean, that was what they were doing. Like, they were all there to be like, Jesus, will you please help me? Like, I've got
you hear the
yeah.
something like that. I don't know.
Will you write that letter on my door, please, Jesus? Yeah, it was but I think that was it. Like, because I think whenever a savior figure comes back, like, you're gonna have, because by the way, that kid, if you went all through that big thing of Zion that was there, that kid is not the only one that was going crazy for Neo. You know what I mean? Like, don't worry though, you'll see him again. His arc is gonna pay off big time.
Yeah, was so weird. I'm like this is kind of messed up. Like Neo's like trying super hard to go get laid, but he's like, I have to be the savior for a hot minute.
But really think about that. Like, think about, like, because here's what's crazy, too, that the councilman said to Neo is, he's like, I spent the first 11 years of my life asleep. To me, the implication is that he was 11 when he got pulled out of the Matrix.
That's what I thought, too.
So this has been going on for a hot minute. And what would you do if you had been living in the Matrix your entire life, you were 20-something, whatever you are now, and people had been being like, no, for real, like Jesus, computer Jesus is coming. And you're like, I'm super stoked. I'm down. I've read all the literature. And then he shows up and he like lives like across the street from you. Like, you're not just going to be like, oh, what's up, Jesus? You're going to be like, yo, I know you, dude. Like, I know everything about you. And he's going to be like, yeah, anyway, if I could just not do this right now, that'd be cool, man. Yeah. I got the spoon for you, though.
It's like living next door to someone whose podcast you listen to all the time.
Hey, remember when you said this? No, I don't. I never knew you.
Just like, I just binged all 150 episodes of your podcast, and gotta say, you are now family.
You're the Olive Garden.
Did this happen
people.
to you, Caleb, recently?
Are you kidding me? With all 5 people?
Or are you the guy living next door to the podcaster?
Dude, I feel like...
Dude, you live next door to
Okay.
Joe Rogan? That's amazing.
I do feel like I'm a little bit more invested in some podcasts than they are in me as a person. Like, I'll message them like we're just like super good buddies, like, hey, great episode, and they just like thumbs up. And I'm like, I'm trying to have a deep conversation here, man.
Thanks.
Remember
Now
when
click
you
the
were 10
link
minutes-
to subscribe.
Yeah, make sure to check out our Patreon.
Yeah, I'm that guy. The one that just gets a little like feels like I'm too much of a part of their show.
What was I gonna say though? Oh, I said it like when we were talking about the story, but I will say, like, I guess that was more appropriate for the writing. Like, I do feel like they paid a lot of stuff off, or at least some things off, in this movie, and that were from the first movie, i.e. Zion, and really, really seeing Morpheus go full tilt, and see that he's not just some like lone. He's not just some lone guy that like broke off from the rest of Zion. Like, people are down to clown with that dude.
So
really go ahead.
has Morpheus in the first one, has he been to Zion before?
Yeah, dude. Especially
Okay.
if this has only been 6 months since Neo has come into the real world, dude. You don't get a reception like that. You don't get the council being like, hey, crazy person, why don't we have you calm the people down? Nope. They're like clearly all on board. And that's why by the way, like, Locke, I feel like does not get enough love. Like, the character of him is great, but the guy playing him was perfect, because like this dude was clearly like fully sold on like, Morpheus is crazy, Neo is nobody, we're all gonna die because these morons are going to like try and use the Force against machines.
Dude, I loved when his wife volunteered for the Morpheus mission.
I don't think that's his wife. I think they are
Was
just
it not?
like, I don't know, because they said the way that they explained it was they said it, I can't remember who I think they said it to Neo of like, she used to be with Morpheus and now she's with Locke. So I don't listen, I could just be going full crazy and be like, maybe they just don't have the concept of marriage there. But I don't know. I think either way is probably safe to say. That was great, though. He's like,
But-
what are you doing? She's like, I'm taking the place of my husband, Will Smith, who was supposed to be the one.
Yeah, I thought that was like super funny. Like, I love how he thinks that everyone's on his side until they prove that they're not.
He's like, why is everyone stupid but me? By the way,
Like,
that is...
everyone. He's just like, what the shit?
I could be ruining my credibility right now, but I'm pretty sure that's true, though, the Will Smith thing. Like, I'm pretty sure he either, like, turned down or was unable to do The Matrix, because I think he was one... If he wasn't the one, he was one of the first ones that they were like, hey, you want to come be part of this here Matrix movie?
Well, that's super cool.
So... hilarious that Jada Pinkett got to show up and be like, that's all right. I got you.
Oh.
By the way, I
Freaking
realized
weird.
her last name is Pinkett Smith, and I just talked about her like her name was Jada Pinkett, like that was her first name. Also, Pinkett is a very strange last name, just saying. Do we give our scores for writing?
We did.
Did I? I didn't.
Nope.
What were your guys's again?
I gave the writing a 78, just like a slight bump, just because
Wrong.
I feel
What'd
like
you
there's
say?
still, I still feel like there's a decent amount of issues. Vic gave it a 92.
Yeah, I think
Was that the one I
that
gave? Yeah. This is for the writing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to look and see that that's right. Well, I have to beat Vic, so I'm doing 93.
All right. Next up, we got acting. So we have, I'll just do like the main people. We got Keanu Reeves, who played Neo. Lawrence Fishburne, who played Morpheus. Carrie Ann Moss, who played Trinity. Hugo Weaving, who played Smith. Jada Pinkett Smith, who played Niobe. Anyone else?
I mean, if you're going to add Jada Pinkett Smith, you might as well add the dude that played Link, because I have something to say about him.
Yeah, Harold
Go ahead.
Perrineau.
I looked up his name earlier and was like, what? How is that a word?
Dude, I knew I recognized him from somewhere. I just had no idea from where.
What was it? Because I looked him up too. What was it? I know there's something that we all know that he was in. What was it? Say it.
It was...
It's right. God
shit.
dang it. IMDb, save me. By the way, there was some good trivia on IMDb for The Matrix Reloaded as well. Link. By the way,
Actually-
can I just tell you on IMDb, they did it in like alphabetical order. Like, hey man, just put the stars at the top. I don't need the guy that played Werewolf 2.
He's been in a lot of TV shows.
There was something specific though that he was in that I was like, oh yeah, I know that guy. Oh, Romeo and Juliet. He was Mercutio in Romeo and Juliet, the movie with Leonardo DiCaprio. That is why I was like, oh, as soon as I saw that, I recognized him immediately.
Huh.
I know I'm talking to the wrong crowd to have seen the Leonardo DiCaprio Romeo and Juliet movie. By the way,
Yeah,
can I just tell you, that is one that I would highly suggest. I would love to see either of you or both, your opinions of that movie, because I remember it being really good, like better than I imagined it to be.
Jeez.
I mean, wait, when did that one come out?
That movie came out in 1996. Starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes. By the way, also John Leguizamo was in that movie, and John Leguizamo is one of my favorite people on this earth.
Depending
You know what? I
when
think
that
Taz
came out.
has mentioned that one.
Yeah, depending when that came out, I was a few months old.
I was gonna say a fetus. What? By the way, while we're waiting for this, do you know Sean Connery initially was gonna play the architect, but he read the script and was like, I don't get it. And the funny part about that is he mentioned that in an interview while he was being interviewed about the movie The League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
I did see that those movies came out really close together. I will say, I think he made the right call. This was a very confusing script.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, who?
By the way, hold on. Let me ask you this, because this is crazy. I can't imagine this even. How long do you think it took to film? I don't know if you know how long it takes to film things, but how long do you think it took to film just the highway chase?
Probably took a few weeks.
Do you have a guess, Crash?
I would say I'm kind of in that same boat. I'd say about
It
2 to
took
3 weeks.
3 months to shoot that.
Holy balls.
Oh.
Longer than many films' entire shooting schedule. That's what this says. That is bananas to me.
Was this like one of the first highway fight scenes?
I don't know. Let's see.
Or at least one of this magnitude.
For sure. I mean, and to me, that's what's crazy to me. I know we're going to get into that in effects, but like that's what's crazy to me about like the care put into that scene or that whole sequence. But then you have the many Smiths coming, and there's like just a spoiler for my effects rating. Like there is a clear moment where it goes from like this is really awesome to like, oh, this is a cool video game trailer. Because it is not any of the real people anymore.
All right, so like we do with most acting casts, who is your top 3? Because mine is very different from the first Matrix.
Vic, are you there?
I'm here. You guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, we just had a freak out moment.
That's crazy.
We're good.
I saw Caleb's eyes get very big.
Yeah. That's how I knew there was a problem. I was like, oh shit. And DJ kicked me off.
Yeah. Somehow with no administrator privileges, I was able to do it.
All right. Yeah, top 3.
Let me pull that up.
Yeah, like out of the entire cast. I'll start off with mine just to see if you guys are lined up with me at all. I doubt it. So I'll go 1, 2, 3. My number 1 is actually going to be Trinity, played by Carrie Ann Moss. I thought she was one of the best parts of this movie. Like, obviously. Like, my acting score was still, like, pretty low. I'm sitting at a 76. But I think out of everyone, I think she did the more believable job.
Yeah.
Then my number 2 would actually go to Morpheus, played by Lawrence Fishburne. And I think his acting just kind of got worse throughout. And then my number 3 would be Neo. Because and it's a kind of by default.
I mean, are we just picking out of those 3, or can we pick anybody?
You can pick anyone.
Vic, unless you have something, I have some no particular orders.
Well, for me, I would say I'm with Caleb on Carrie Ann Moss. I don't know. I appreciated her acting a lot more here than, when you look at the group as a whole. Number 2, I would go to Hugo Weaving. I just like his acting. That guy is
For sure.
And you know what? I had a math teacher my senior year of high school. Looks just like the guy. So it's just like, I don't know. I'm like, yeah, I gotta give him that just because of that teacher. But yeah, I'd say Hugo Weaving. Number 3, I would go to Lawrence Fishburne. Just, I don't know, man. That speech, just got me.
Yeah, the speech was amazing. I would go. It's funny because I don't think I would. I think Morpheus would be Lawrence Fishburne would be the only main character that I would give it to, because my guilty pleasure favorite is the Merovingian. Like, I love that guy because he's I love him because he's such a douche, but he really gives like kind of the only laugh in that movie because right after Neo defeats everybody, he's just like, "Woman, you will be the death of me," and then just leaves out of the front door. And I don't know, I got a real laugh out of that, and I like that a lot. And God, I don't want to also pick Hugo Weaving just to give it some diversity, but Hugo Weaving is an honorable mention because Hugo Weaving is amazing. Like, it's a travesty he's not in every movie. But I'm trying to think. I don't know. I think just because we don't get to see her again, probably the Oracle, because she played that role so well, like, and it was just, it was always very like one-off, understated. I don't know, I just like her. Like, she was that, if there was any role that was perfectly cast, I know people say, Keanu Reeves is perfect for the one, but I think if there was a number one perfect cast, it was her being the Oracle. So I would say that lady, whatever her name was. Old what's her name? I liked her a lot.
Yeah, she did a really good job. And I'll be 100% real. I completely forgot about Hugo Weaving, so he's actually going to take my number 2 spot.
By the way, her name was
Morpheus.
Gloria Foster. By the way, she died. She finished all of her, like, barely finished all of her scenes for this movie and died basically right after. And that's why spoiler alert for you, Caleb, but the what's her face, the Oracle is going to take on a new form in the next movie.
That sucks.
I mean, it sucks because it's not like it was something contractual. Like, I heard a rumor that that's why Tank was not in this movie, and then it ended up being Link instead. Because you know how Tank and Dozer dies at the end, and Tank presumably lives, like, because he gets back up and he kills Cypher. But I don't know this for sure. I heard this through the grapevine, is that there were just contract issues and he wasn't going to get paid what he wanted to, and they were basically like, we don't need you. We'll get somebody else.
Good for him. I appreciate actors taking a stand like that.
It sucks because I do too, and I want people to get paid what they're worth for the thing that they're doing. But like, the guy that did Link is fine, but I would way much more have had Tank in there than this dude Link. Because, by the way, speaking of story stuff, like, that was a part of the story that, like, Tank would have helped us not need, which was the couple of moments that Morpheus needlessly had with this guy to be like, "Hey man, you gotta trust me, dude. Like, I'm in charge here, and if you don't trust me, then what do we even have here?" And then we had the one slight callback to it when Link's like, "Hey, I think this is a dangerous mission." He's like, "What did I tell you?" He's like, "I trust you fully. Anyway, we're hacking into the Matrix again." I don't know, man. Morpheus already had his acolytes, and I think they should have just paid the man. Get Tank back.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other acting notes you guys have, other than it just kind of being like, eh?
I like Link, but he was terrible. Like he was I could have dealt with no Link at all.
I think they
Yeah.
tried really hard to make us care about him with his
his luck charm and his wife.
yeah. I
Well, I
did
think
really
just-
like how he came in and when he came back home and was entering his living space and then like froze when he saw kids were in there.
Where's my? Oh, hello everyone.
I think it's too is just like trying too hard to like get you to like a character that, you know what I mean. That's not of the main. You know, your main cast is just. I
Yeah.
don't know.
All right, DJ, what's your score for acting?
Oh yeah, I definitely did not give that, huh? Acting. Oof, I'm gonna have to give that probably an 80. I think that's being charitable.
All right, and that brings our acting grade to a 77.6.
Can't argue. Can't argue, especially after what we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, next up we got character development.
Well,
I'm going to give, by the way, I'll just start with it and say I'm going to give this one an 80, but I begrudgingly give this. This is my charitable, this is my charity that I'm giving to this because I have not seen such little character development. Like there was no character development at all for Neo until literally the last thing he did. The second to last thing he did. He did his thing. I force ghost you, and then he passed out. And then that was that was his arc, is that he brought the Matrix to the real world. And Morpheus, I actually liked Morpheus. I think I know you said you thought he got worse as time went on. I felt like we got to watch a man slowly realize everything that he believed in, like to the core of his being, was not only wrong, but it was a manipulation that he bought into, like hook, line, and sinker. Like seeing that last scene when he explained to Morpheus what was going on and what he talked about with the architect, like my heart broke for him, because you saw him, like you could see in his face like his brain break. Like he was just like, this can't be, like this cannot be. And when he's like, you said it yourself, he's like, if the prophecy was true, like why isn't the war over right now? And like, oh my God, dude, like that killed me. And I feel like everything was slowly leading up to that, because he was just, you see him in Zion, he gets the crowd goes wild for the man. He keeps going up and up. He has that moment where they're going to meet the Merovingian. He's as cocky as he ever is, because they're like, oh, what did we do wrong? And he's like, we did everything exactly as it was supposed to be. And then the doors open and Persephone's there. Like he is like, we did it. I am right. Look at how right I am. There was something I wrote down. Wait, this was good, because he did the thing you're never supposed to do. Maybe I didn't write it down. He did the thing you're never supposed to do, which is like put a timetable on something. Like all bad cult leaders are like, on this date and time, this is when the thing is going to happen. And he did that by basically saying, like, once Neo does this, we good. And then once that didn't, I was like, oh no, like everyone watching this movie for the first time should know, like, he is about to like take a hard fall. And he did.
Okay,
I don't know, let other people talk now.
That whole ending, like with Morpheus kind of
breaking.
Breaking. I feel like I thought Neo was lying. Like, was Neo lying to him?
Well,
Because
you know
he
what's
could have
funny?
made the other choice, and like the other choice, it kind of would have been what Morpheus wanted to happen, right?
Well, no, what Morpheus wanted to Morpheus did not know. Like that I think was more his point, is that Morpheus didn't yes, the war would have stopped, but what Morpheus didn't understand about that is that the war would have stopped because Zion would have been abolished or whatever, just destroyed out of the middle of the planet, and then Neo would get to handpick the next 16 people that were, or what was it? Was it 16 women and 7 men, something like that? Whatever the number was, like he was going to get to handpick them, and he was going to be the one that freed this next generation of people that were getting freed from the Matrix. Because that's what he says. That's what the architect says to him. He's like, there's always that 1% of the population that just does not, even though they have that subconscious choice, they just do not accept what the Matrix is. And then he talks about how Neo is the remainder of this problem that has been happening over and over. So he's basically sorry, your hand got, I looked up and saw your hand and thought spider for a second and was like, what is happening?
No, I just got
I lost the thread.
alert. Sorry.
Oh my God, Neo just took the children. But like that is the thing, is like, and by the way, that is where like Morpheus buying whole hog into what the Oracle said really came to like bite him. And like the Oracle never made any promises to him. Like if he ever got to speak to the Oracle again, was like, yo, what is going on? She would give him the Oracle jargon that she gives. And, we already kind of got the answer to any question that Morpheus would have for the Oracle about, hey, I didn't know it would be like this. She'd be like, I'm not interested in you living. I'm interested in what the future holds. And that's all I was ever interested in. So I don't know, like it's again, you have to want to connect the dots, but they are there to connect, I think. In my I will say, in my humble opinion, they are there.
Caleb, what did I give the my score?
You also gave it an 80.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
I
went super low with mine because I feel like the movie or the Matrix kind of revolves around Neo, and so I just kind of went off of Neo, and yeah, his arc really sucked, and that's why I feel like 2 and 3 could easily be combined into just one long ass movie. Like you could probably combine the two and make like a good 3-hour movie.
I think you can make the argument that 1 and 2 could be cut into a movie, into one slightly longer movie, and you could really trim some of the fat out of 2. But now that I know you've never seen 3, I am really like I've shielded my heart to your response to it, but I'm really interested into what you think about it in particular, because you are in a real weird position that you're going to be able to watch 3 and then go directly into 4, which I don't really know. Yeah. I've done my best to like stay away from what 4 is going to be at all, but dude, 3 is like, if you think they started leaning into the philosophical stuff in this movie, get ready, my dude. They are like, listen, if you are wondering what the thing is, we're going to give you visual representations by the end.
Dude, I love that stuff. I freaking love like philosophical stuff, and right, that's why I really. Do what?
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say that's why I really liked some of the conversations that were had, like with the counselor and the architect. Like I really like those conversations because I feel like there's just so much that you can take from that, and it's just. It was just everything else, and Neo just kind of he felt like he was just stagnant throughout the entire movie until like the end when he unlocks this new power within him, which is confusing as shit.
Well, here's the other thing too that's kind of weird about Neo. It almost kind of makes sense especially since we were talking about One Punch Man, because he is kind of like at the top tier right now. Like I mean, he's the literal one. Like that, how they kind of painted themselves to a corner about this. Maybe with being the one and having like it follow him more than like trying to get back to the source. Because I can't. Well, now I'm gonna spoil 3, but yeah, it's. I don't know, man. Like it's weird. I'm really glad that we're doing this because it's been a while. I realized watching these movies again, it's been too long since I've watched them because I used to watch them like on a very regular basis, and it's been super long. And I really enjoy the idea of these movies being talked about in this way, and the fact that now I'm going to be searching for different cuts of the movie because I'm sure there are fan cuts out there somewhere.
Probably. I wouldn't put it past anyone. I mean, there's a super cut of the MCU, for heaven's sake. Like, if there's not a fan cut of The Matrix, like, I'd be genuinely shocked.
What was I going to say? I don't know. I know The Matrix has spawned off like a bunch of cool stuff. Like I forgot about it until today, but like they have the Animatrix, which is kind of like the Star Wars visions of its day, because it was just a bunch of like anime shorts. I think it was like 8 or 9 of them that I think they were released like right before or right after this movie came out, which I would be like, I barely remember them, so I'd be interested to at least go over those again. And what was I going to say? Dude, did you guys ever play the Enter the Matrix video game?
Mm-mm.
I didn't.
That was, I know I'm sidebarring, but I will just do it for a moment. That was like, for a long time, there were no good Star Wars games because they always did like, the force power is weird or lightsabers wrong or whatever it is, but this game freaking nailed it 100%. I mean, for the time. I'm sure if you played it now, you'd be like, this is trash garbage. But like knowing that nothing like that had ever come out before, like it was a great, I love that game. Sorry. Since no one's played it, I'm just talking about nothing. Anyway.
Dude, I feel like there's a game franchise that's come out that I feel is a complete and utter knockoff of The Matrix. What's it called?
You're talking about Assassin's Creed, maybe?
No, well, okay, technically yes, but not at the same time. What is it? Oh, Saints Row.
Dude, Saints Row like leans into it though. Like I think. I remember because it's funny because it just went on sale on the Switch. Saints Row 3 did a little while ago, and I bought it, and it came with all the DLC, and one of the DLC was Enter the Dominatrix. So yeah, they are to me it feels like a loving nod more than like a ripoff.
Okay, that's fair. I was wondering that from, like, because I'm not the biggest Matrix. I really like the Matrix, but I'm not like a diehard. But I've always wondered
It's weird
if
to call
people.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Like, I've always wondered if like Matrix fans hated that franchise.
I think it's weird if I've never met, and I don't even know if I would call myself a diehard Matrix fan. Like, I don't know if there is such a thing, just because there isn't really a lot surrounding it. You know what I mean? Like, there are the movies, there's the Animatrix, there's the game if you want to go buy a PlayStation 2. And I'm sure there's comics, but like, I mean, it's weird because it's stayed popular for so long, but like, it's clearly not a Star Wars. It's not a, an MCU. Like, it's not, I don't know. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I have such hard nostalgia for it, is because it was like, it did the work of like all those MCU movies in 3, in the sense that like, no, it was clearly not as good as the arc of the MCU. But like at the time, if there were movies that were like that were that big, and that were, especially with a trilogy where the last last two movies come out in the same year. Like, it just wasn't a thing, really. So it was just the fact that it stood the test of time even to now is, I think, says a lot about that group of movies.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. Any since I think we're just all itching to get into effects. So character development came to a 75.
Yeah, that feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now getting into effects. Where are we sitting, boys?
I mean, it really.
Well, you
I
know
think,
mine already, so.
I want to hear your guys's, because like I really only have one effects problem. It's giant, but I only have one.
All right. So since we don't have your score yet, DJ, our average score is 75.
Wait, what is yours? Go ahead,
And
tell me your
Vic is one higher, and mine is one lower.
Okay. I'm going, honestly, can I just tell you, I'm okay, mate.
Like, get ready. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3,
79.
and now. Okay.
79. And by the way, I feel like really the worst, there were only two really bad moments. One was really bad and one was momentarily bad. The first bad one was when he started to fly and he went up in the clouds, and you're like, all right, come on. Like, you're clearly one of those windsock people that goes in front of a car dealership. And then by the way, I was waiting for the moment, because I was like, this Smith fight doesn't look so bad. It doesn't look as bad as I remember. And then he pulls the bar out of the ground and he hits him and breaks the concrete off on him. And that's the last real thing that happened, because everything after that was bananas. I was like, are you
watching the bodies fly and stuff is just amazing.
like, someone listen, because I did cheat a little bit, because I needed to juice myself for this as well. So I listened to a podcast that actually, weirdly enough, just came out a couple days ago about the Matrix Reloaded, and one thing that they clued me off to that I forgot about, but I noticed when I watched the movie. Right near the end of that fight, if you look, he grabs a Smith that comes at him, he throws it at a bunch of other Smiths, and then he takes off flying. Okay. Right before he takes off flying, do you know what the sound effect is? Bowling pins falling over.
Oh my gosh. I really wish that I had the ability to use a notepad in that moment, because I wanted to write that. I feel like there was like so many sound effects like that. Like, not only just like bowling pins, I feel like there was like others.
That was the most, to me, egregious one, because I was like, what are we doing here? Like, what is this movie now? Like, it almost seemed like they had like someone guest direct that part, and they were like, this is a comic book movie, right? We'll just put some bowling pins in there.
Oh my gosh, that's the equivalent of like the Wilhelm scream.
Dude, it was so fun. I mean, and by the way, that again, up until it went CG crazy, like, that fight was awesome, because one of the things that I said this about Black Widow, and I'll say it about this too, is when there is a gang of people trying to fight one person and they do the like one at a time fighting, like, everybody hates that. And I think Black Widow did that well, because they had that scene up in the Red Room, whatever the place is called, and they, everyone was coming at her at once, and it was like that here. Like, you have a Smith holding him back while two other ones are punching him in the face, and like they're going crazy, and like the fight looked amazing. And god dang though, but that 2003 PlayStation 1 game they started playing was crazy.
Basically what it turned into. They just filmed somebody playing the game is all. That's all.
I mean, listen, that also goes to show that like the dark when you're doing special effects really hides a lot of sin, because I think that the machines still looked pretty good. I think that, Zion was like nondescript, but like clearly that was not supposed to be like a big huge set piece, other than you were supposed to see like there's a lot of people here anyway. uh so none of it it didn't dwell on anything else long enough for it to look super bad, so that's why I can justify giving it a 79. But it just doesn't quite hit the 80 because God. It's just so bad.
Yeah, that was, once it got to that point, it was like super rough. And like, yeah, when he was flying around, I was like one step above like Superman N64.
One thing I did think was cool, even though it did look kind of cheesy, I really liked the twins, the ghosts. And the coolest thing that they did was whenever they were trying to go after the keymaker and he phased through and then like became corporeal right in the back seat and was like, I got him. Like, that was awesome. Like, they looked cheesy, of course, but like it was, for having like ghosts in the Matrix, like I think that was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually boosted my score because of that, because I thought that was like really creative.
Yes.
With everything that they did and the way that they were able
Mm-hmm.
to pull that off, it looked really good. Like, I thought they could have done some crazy shit with them becoming intangible, and like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, now you could probably do it where it's like you could do like a punch through someone, or like they just fly through someone and rip out an organ or some shit like that. But that might have been a tad too gruesome. But
Well, by the way, if you notice, there was very, 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 very little blood in this movie, because if you see whenever they're going to get the Keymaster, like, dude, I mean, here's a weird thing. I was listening to it because I was watching it on my phone. I was listening to it through my Bluetooth headphones, their earbuds, and two things about that fight with the Merovingian sends everybody after him. One, with as many knife sounds as I heard, everyone should have been sliced into 1,000 pieces, like individually. And you saw like almost no blood in that. But two, one thing I realized in that scene in particular, like every time that he would like move the sai and hit something, it would make the noise, but then it would make it again right after. Like, they were putting extra like ching 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 ching, like just extra noises in, and I'm like, are they cheating? Like, is this actually going as fast as it seems like, or are they just putting so many noises in there that it seems like it? By the way, do you have one for music? By the way, I would say this is what I'm going to tell you is not music. This is more like an audio thing that I noticed. Because again, wearing headphones, it's weird that it was actually kind of a bit of a cooler experience using headphones, because when they first, at the very beginning, because you think you're in the Matrix, but you're just seeing Neo's vision of the future. But then when they actually go to the Matrix, and they're about to go to that meeting, like if you really pay attention, you can hear and you can even see over in the left corner, you can hear the cat, and it's the same cat noise from the cat that he's like, oh, deja vu. Like, you can barely hear it, but you can hear it, and if you look in the background, you can see the cat, which I thought was a very cool thing that I don't know if I ever would have known, because I rewound it a couple times. I'm like, did I really hear it? And then I'm looking and I saw it, but I don't think I ever would have noticed that if I wasn't wearing headphones.
that's crazy. Oh. Yeah, I tried to be as fair as humanly possible with older movies. Like, I went through and was trying to compare it with like other CGI heavy movies from the same year. And the only one that like really stuck out was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. But I messed up the year that it like came out, and I was looking up 2004 first. And I was going through and I'm like, oh my gosh, this score is low. Like, because this came out the same year as Spider-Man or Spider-Man 2. This came out the same, like, there was a bunch of movies, and then I like looked up the actual year, and I was like, oh, I'm like a year off.
Yeah, it's hard, especially like that again. Like, I think that this is like the poster child for what can go wrong once you get too much money.
Mm-hmm.
Because like if you look at The
Yeah.
Matrix, like that was one of the things that I loved about that movie is that they used special effects and practical like perfectly together, in my opinion. And this one, they were like, we have all this money. Why don't we? Why don't we make Attack of the Clones? We could just do that. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. So, any other effects you guys want to talk about?
No. That
I
kind of hit
think
the
so.
nail on the head.
All right. Moving on over to music. So this is like technically it's audio. I just haven't changed it yet because I'm lazy. But yeah. So anything music related, anything audio related, which like we said probably includes that bowling pins thing and the excessive use of size clanging.
By the way, I'll still give it a 90 because it sounded Matrix. You know what I mean? Like Matrix clearly has a vibe. The fact that at the end of the movie they have this big like, oh my god, it's Bane in there with him. Come on, just go right into Rage Against the Machine. Like I love how ridiculous that is. Of like they have this big serious moment and then they bust into Rage Against the Machine. Like I think the Matrix music is iconic, so I would say it's a 90.
So this
Points
one's out of
deducted
10.
for bowling pins. 9. Okay, 9.
Okay.
I can't win today.
No, you're good. Yeah,
I give
was
it a 9.0.
Yeah, so we're averaging out now with your score. We're averaging at an 8 for that.
What did you guys give it?
An 8?
Yeah, Vic gave it an 8. I gave it a 7, and just because I didn't like I had a doc for the damn bowling pins, and I didn't catch like the excessive clanging, but I did kind of dock for the soundtrack because it was very. I feel like it aged like really heavily with the weird techno music that they were doing.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm confused, but like I definitely remember the techno scene. Come on, but like I just always whenever maybe it's just my own headcanon, but like every time I think of anything that happens in the Matrix, I just think of that swelling like brass. You know what I mean? And I don't know. Maybe that's not what's actually happening, but that's how I always hear it in my head.
Yeah, I mean the Matrix score itself is really good, but I'm just taking everything else into consideration too. And techno music kind of sucks.
How dare you? Techno music was all the rage in 2003.
That's what. That's exactly why I docked it.
You know, I heard a good point though. Is like what we're really hearing is like the Wachowskis. Like we're seeing what they liked. Like I feel like, especially with that rave scene where they were like, "This is just for us."
Yeah. I feel like someone else that kind of does it. I feel like he tries to do it a little bit better. But James Gunn, anytime he chooses a soundtrack, like if when he chooses a soundtrack, at least when it came to like Guardians of the Galaxy, he said that he tries to choose songs and music that character would like. And then
I
like
feel like
when it came to like Volume 1 and Volume 2, like or of those soundtracks, like the awesome mix, he said I was choosing songs that Peter's mom would have liked.
I think that one thing I like about James Gunn is I feel like he I don't know this obviously, but I feel like he toils over that because it's like in my mind, because he usually picks music that pairs like perfectly, not just with the movie as a whole, but with like the scene that's happening. So it seems to be like oddly perfect when he puts music in. So I mean, as far as he is to music in movies, as Quentin Tarantino is to conversations in movies, to bring it all back around.
Yeah, absolutely agreed on that.
Oh yeah.
I.e. the original Suicide Squad, when everybody was like, what is this trash? Why are you doing this? Stop doing this to me.
Total side note, I would love to see James Gunn try and take on The Matrix.
Oh my God.
Dude, that would be amazing. Well, I feel like I don't know, because now I'm thinking of like what was it? The Belko project? Did you guys see that movie?
Mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, please do yourselves a favor. I'm not going to tell you anything else. Just watch that movie as soon as you can, please.
What's it called?
I'm pretty
The
sure it's called the
Belko
Belko project, or the Belko experiment. It's Belko. God dang it. Oh, Belko, the Belko experiment. I don't know. You know what? He did not direct that movie, but he wrote it. And yeah, it's very good. Let's see if the synopsis gives it away. In a twisted social experiment. No, I'm just gonna let you just watch the movie. Don't find any. Don't look. Don't look at a trailer. Don't do anything. Just
a
watch
blind
the
watch.
movie.
Go on a blind watch.
Yeah, I would love to know the blind reaction to that movie.
Yeah.
Anything else music wise that you guys want to?
No.
All right, like I
Don't think
said,
so.
we're sitting at an 8 with music now. Moving on over to costumes. Dude, I don't know how they dropped so significantly from the first one. Like, why was Neo wearing a dress the entire time?
How dare you? That was a duster. It was just made of alligator leather. That's all. Yeah, I mean, clear again. This was the thing they were saying that I heard somebody saying too. Is like clearly the Wachowskis had a style that they were into, and they were like, there will be no diversity. Everyone will dress in the heaviest of leathers, and
I mean, they were pretty diverse in the types of leather. Like Morpheus was wearing like alligator skin.
Yeah.
Trinity was wearing just all types of shapely leather.
it was. I mean, listen, they were. Oh, you know what? God dang it! I cannot believe I forgot to mention this. This probably should have said this way earlier, but this could go with costumes too. I was thinking about, because you remember when they said when Trinity was like, I thought you said never to go on the freeway. And he's like, it's suicide. And he's like, well, I hope I'm wrong. It dawned on me, I don't know if this is what the actual intention was, but it dawned on me while they were on the freeway that was supposed to be like the normie internet. And like really what we've been seeing this whole time is like people dealing in the Matrix version of the dark web. Like that's all we've really ever seen this whole time. And then, because if you look during that whole chase, like, the one thing that's crazy that's happening is that cars aren't just going, hey man, this is nuts, and splitting off and just pulling off the road. Like everyone's just driving like normal. And to me, this is like we are looking at the normie internet. Like that was like, oh, I went onto AOL and I went into a chat room. Like that's where they were for a while, and that's why that's suicide,
Jeez.
because I would imagine it's that much easier to find them there. And maybe they dressed the way they dressed is because they were living in the shadows, and they thought that was what cool people that lived in the shadows would dress like.
Oh my God.
So that's my one pitch for why they dress like that.
That is actually
That's
a
actually
really good explanation.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's like so symbolic just in the way they dress, the symbolism and everything in this movie, in these movies.
Yeah, like that explains so much, but it doesn't explain why Neo was wearing a dress. So
No, it was a duster, but whatever, it's fine.
Dude, like
hashtag it was a duster.
okay, like his trench coat in the first one was super cool. Like it still had like that same look. I'm just like, why did they have to go with the duster?
Because he's the one, dude.
He can do what he wants.
It was a very poor decision, but kudos to whoever got Carrie Ann Moss to wear that outfit, because how you doing?
Well, that was just like a riff on what she already was wearing, right? In the first movie? Because that seemed very similar, if not almost exactly the same.
Yeah.
Dude, that shit looked like it was shrink wrapped to her. And I was not complaining in the slightest.
Hilarious.
Dude, have you, like, I feel like she's aged super well.
I think we're going to see that for sure in the Matrix, whatever it's called, the Matrix.
Resurrection.
Push the rock away from the... roll the stone away after the third day. That'll be the true test.
All right, where are you sitting at with costumes?
All right, I guess I have to say it. You know what? I'm gonna stick with an 8 because of the explanation that I gave. So I feel like I pulled that so far from the depths that deserves to give them an 8 for that.
Alrighty, well, that averages us out to an 8.
You're welcome, The Matrix Reloaded.
Alright, last up we got our own personal scores for this movie. So one of you gents want to take it first?
I mean, I'll just throw the dynamite and say this is getting 100 for me. Because again, I understand what this movie is. Okay, I get it. But there are a couple podcasts I listen to where they ask if you could only have 3 movies for the rest of your life, what would they be? And it's the Matrix trilogy all day long. So I am compelled to give it the correct score. And by the way, this is a personal grade, okay? So this is not. I feel like this is supposed to be like neglecting.
There's no right or wrong
the...
answers.
Yeah, this can be as biased as you want it.
Yeah. What did I remind me of my score for this one, Caleb?
You gave it an 88.
88. Yeah, I'm at an 88 for this one, just because again, a lot of it I think is those nostalgia goggles. But then again, like appreciating more of the appreciating the stuff outside of the action is kind of what gets it there or keeps it right there for me. Not really going any lower. Yeah, I mean, it really is a good movie. It's one that like I don't mind rewatching. So I think it's deserving of an 88 for me.
Yeah. I'm on the lower side with this one. I'm down at a 72. I did have a really good time watching this movie. Like it was fun, but I did catch myself kind of drifting a little bit, kind of getting a little bit too. I was noticing my surroundings.
Dude, it was 2 hours and 18 minutes. Like, it was a long movie. Like, I'm glad we talked about this because it was a long movie. It did not have to be that long.
Yeah. Like I said, I watched it in VR, and the app that I play with, or that I was watching it on, you can spawn like popcorn and a drink that you can like hold, and if you wanted to, you could like throw, and the popcorn kind of goes flying everywhere. So I caught myself doing that a couple times where I'm just like, let's get on with it. So yeah, I did that a couple times, and like just when I was drifting, because it was either that or fall asleep, and I did not want to fall asleep. So
you know what happens when you fall asleep in VR?
Yeah, you wake up and lose your mind. But yeah, it was just for that reason. I think there was just a lot of times where it dragged on a little too long, and that just kind of killed it for me. And then again with the super confusing story, and just like not really understanding where everyone's coming from or where they're going. Which, from the sound of it and talking it out, seems like they had no idea where they were going until they got there.
That's the problem, I think, is that like they have this story they want to tell, and the allegory they're using is human computers, and they are like, if they are threading the needle, they're barely doing it. Because like I get why. I actually can, in my mind, understand why Neo was able to, or I'm sorry, not understand, but I can make the logical leap of why Neo could like force electrocute those squiddies at the end, because really what he did eventually was bring some of that Matrix code out with him, because we know that part of the Matrix can come out with you, and we know that he always was part of that. Like, whether he realized it or not is like part of what he was Matrix code. So he is just continuing that out. Technically, since he is code and those squids are connected to the Matrix, or whatever, to the source, he could do that. But like, again, like, it's such a freaking big thing that they're trying to do. And it's, I think you could make a good case that they focused on a lot of the wrong things.
Yeah, I think you can definitely make that argument.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, that averages us out to an 86.6 for our personal grade.
Yeah.
So, with that concludes this week's breakdown, and the final All Bros, Untrained Eye, and Crash and Taz movie Cellar score for The Matrix Reloaded has come to, Rose isn't here to do drum roll, but a B-.
Hey.
All right.
Wait,
Yeah.
Before you tell what movies surround it, can I tell you a funny anecdote that happened just recently? You are going to love this. My nephew, he's 14 years old, poor guy. He's like, oh, you're doing a podcast tonight. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I'm doing The Matrix 2. He's like, The Matrix. He's like, I think I saw, aren't they making a new movie about The Matrix with John Wick? And I was like, I died. I was like, dude, that is making it to the show, my friend. I was like, that's the funniest thing anybody's ever said.
It's like there's... Doesn't that shit just kind of make you feel old?
I mean, I laughed out loud when he said that. I was like, my mind was blown. I was like, no, you mean the guy from The Matrix is going to be in The Matrix. Oh yeah, isn't that the one with John Wick? Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. Yeah, so it's a B-. So compared to our other B- movies, which we have 19 of, it is sitting at 13.
All
right. Start with what's ahead of it.
What's ahead of it?
Yeah, I want to know last what's behind it, because I feel like it's all gonna make me either sad or I'm gonna have to quit the show. I don't know. It'll be number 7 host. I don't know. Uh,
All right. So we're sitting at an 81.66%. So that puts it. You want to know what's above it or below?
yeah, I
Below
think
it.
people are going to be more upset by what's below it. So I want to hear what's above it first.
Okay.
That's true.
So that puts it.
I'm like, yeah.
All right. So that puts it below Birds of Prey, which is at an 81.75. It is below Holiday in Handcuffs, which is at an 81.78. You can blame Jason for that one.
Oh, my stomach hurts. Oh my god. That's amazing.
It is below Spiral, which is at an 81.93. It is also, it's below. Okay, it's below Spiral, The War with Grandpa, and Rogue One, which are all at an 81.93.
Nice.
Then it also puts it below It Chapter 2, which is at an 81.95. So there's like a shit ton of movies. Like if we're talking margins, like the percentage difference, The Matrix Reloaded, like before you even get a full percentage above this movie, we're at like the second movie, B minus movie.
That's like telling a kid you like barely lost.
Yeah, you were so close.
Yeah,
You almost got a full A. What did it beat now?
All right, yeah. So there's
I'm ready for my day to be killed.
11 movies above The Matrix Reloaded before you get a full, like one full percentage.
That's amazing.
Nice.
Yeah. So The Matrix Reloaded is above Late Night, which is at an 81.37. It is above Deadpool 2, which is at an 81.
Bullshit.
I knew I was going to catch shit for that one.
I quit.
Oh, yeah, which is at an 81.08. It is above the Banana Splits movie, which is at an 80.91. It is above Dune, which is at an 80.62. It is also above Good Boys, 80.25. And it is above...
That's a good movie, though.
Yeah, well, you can't bitch about that one. You
But
were
they're
on that
different.
episode.
I know, but they're all and they're two different. But they're two different movies. They're two different like genre of movies, so it's kind of hard. Yeah, no, go for it. Go for it.
For everyone listening, I just wish you could see Vic. He is currently dying. Like, I am watching him pass away in front of my very eyes.
Yeah, and then finally it is above Nomadland, which is at an 80.18.
By the way, we need to do this the same way for the third movie too, because if you think people are mad about Deadpool being below this movie, for sure, whatever is below the next one, people are going to lose their minds.
Unsubscribe.
I forget where did the other Matrix sit?
Son of a
So,
bitch.
like,
Did it get higher?
No, so yeah, the first Matrix got an A minus.
That's correct.
Yeah, and just to piss Vic off, that put it above the Avengers.
Yeah, I heard what it was above. Let's not relive this shit. It's twice you guys have let me down. Actually, I have to blame myself for this one because I'm part of it now.
Dude,
I'm
you
part
have
of the
no
problem.
idea how happy, or not even happy, how filled with joy I was that you were losing your mind that if your Far From Home score went lower, and you were trying so hard to make it higher, and it ended up
We're doing
lower.
it again, and it's getting hundreds all across the board on my side.
I think that's correct.
Oh my gosh, that was so funny. Anyway, if you guys want to check out our whole like rating system, I have a link to it on our website. Any movie we've ever broken down, and just like a couple bonus ones, yeah, are all on our website.
So I'm trying to see if I missed anything. Oh, here's a fun piece of trivia you might not know about that movie. Remember at the end when Neo passed out and they were like, "The Hammer's here to save us." That ship came and they called it the Hammer. Do you know why they call it the Hammer? Because they couldn't pronounce its actual name. Do you know its actual name? Mjolnir.
Are you serious?
That is some trivia that I read, and I choose to believe it. I don't know if it's true or not, but I think it's hilarious that a bunch of freaking ground-dwelling idiots were like, I don't know how to say that word. I'll call it the Hammer.
Jesus.
Oh, that's funny. Alrighty. Well, like I said, this concludes this week's breakdown. Yeah. So you guys want to share where we can find you gentlemen?
DJ, go for it, man.
Hi, everybody. I'm DJ. You might remember me from such programs as The All Bros, The Matrix one. You can find me on my own show, The Untrained Eye, that I do with my wife, Bethany. It is a great show. You should check it out. We talk about things and stuff. You can find it wherever. Just type in The Untrained Eye and whatever you're listening to right now. If you want to see if I ever post on any social media, just follow at Untrained iPod, and just know that if I follow you back on Instagram, I'll like your stuff, but I probably am not going to post a whole lot.
That is true. I don't feel like you post as often as you used to.
Can I tell you something? I looked at it. I thought I was like 5 or 6 posts behind. I'm like 15 posts behind. I have so many. One day you're just going to get like a brrrr, and you're just going to see, well, the Untrained Eye is back. They are here and they are posting.
Dude, Instagram is such a weird platform. Like, anytime I've posted, like, the question of the week, like, I usually get an average of, like, 13, maybe 15 likes on something like that. I post the artwork, and, like, same thing, like, I get maybe a little bit less, like, 9 to 12. And so I was kind of just expecting around the same number when I posted the newly animated artworks that I've done, and now I've gotten, like, 3.
There is nothing like social media to be like, oh yeah, do you feel special? You're not. You're not.
Dude, I've had such like a confidence complex with that because I've been I'm not sure if you saw the retweet group, but I posted, I'm like, do you guys think this is dumb?
Dude, it's fun. It sucks because I feel really bad because I used to be super good and on it about all things social media, and my days now are so freaking like jam packed in the sense that like I have to go from this thing to this thing to this thing, and everything is scheduled out up until like sleeping, and then I look and I'm like, oh, I was supposed to retweet this 2 days ago. Like the episode I was on, I retweeted like 3 days late. Like, what is the matter with me? So that's why I say follow at the Untrained iPod. We're out there.
All right, Vic, where can people find you?
And that's just bad at getting shit out there. My name's Crash. I'm from the Crash and Taz movie Cellar. Pretty much do the same thing that we just did here today, except a little bit more vulgar. On our show, it's pretty much the biggest difference, I think. We let the F-bombs fly freely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you
that's
go
pretty
out of
much it.
10 instead of 100.
Yeah, that too. We go out of 10. Just very simple shit. It's just me and my uncle. We like to talk about movies, and yeah, you can follow us too on Instagram. We're Crash and Taz Movie Cellar. It's with the letter N in between Crash and Taz, and underscores in between each word. And yeah, pretty much the same thing. So
Hell yeah. Alrighty. Well, if you like this episode, want to check out more of our stuff, be sure to follow and subscribe to us wherever you listen to podcasts. We are basically everywhere. We're also on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn for some reason. All at the All Bros. We're also on TikTok now. We have like one video that we've posted. You can find us on that at the All Bros. So yeah, go check it out. Let's see, we have other shit too. You can also email us if you want at the allbroschannel@gmail.com. If you have an episode idea, want to join us for an episode, or honestly, whatever the hell you want to message us about. You can also go to our website where you can find links to everything that we do, tinyurl.com/theallbros. Yeah, I mean, if you want, go buy a Monster House.
Monster House.
Go get your Monster House merch now. Oh. You got a baby? Buy that baby a Monster House shirt.
I feel like
Get 'em
people
a
buy
onesie.
that because, like, it's a Dreamcast one. So our it's our logo above and says the All Bros present, and then below it says a Dreamcast. And I'm like, I feel like people buy that so they can just like scratch off our logo. So they're like, look at my cool Monster House shirt.
What a weird long road to do. Like, why not just get your own shirt made? Like,
Right.
I think you actually just have legit people that love your show and they love Monster House. Why can't two things be true?
Dude, I don't know what the hell is up with that, because like the Monster House episode is like one of our least popular. I mean,
Maybe you
along
should-
with like
Apparently not.
89 others.
I was gonna say, maybe you should re-release it, you know? Just like, hey, we're gonna do a Throwback Thursday. Here's some Monster House for the people who clearly are craving Monster House.
Yeah. But if you want shirts with way better artwork on them, at least objectively
AKA the
speaking.
ones that say featuring Crash and Taz.
Got him.
God.
Well, I don't want to get copyright strikes from you, so I released the separate ones.
Wait, you did not release the one that had the 3 Spider-Men on it?
Oh my
I
god,
haven't-
that would be the best.
That's one I don't know what to do with. So I mean, if you guys are cool with me posting it, I'll have
not
for
mind
sure.
at all.
If
I'll
that
have
thing, I
visual
mean,
evidence.
I
Or
would-
I would. Go ahead.
I would love that. And if you get, nothing would make me happier than if someone gets to buy that shirt, i.e. me, or you get
I was
copyright
gonna say
stricken
I'd probably
like
buy that shirt.
right away. I don't know if copyright stricken is an actual phrase, but I just said it anyway.
Hell yeah. Oh. All right, so I guess I'll post that too.
Nice.
Yeah, you can find links to all that stuff on our website. Links to everything that we do, everything that DJ does, and everything that Vic does will all be in the description. So next
Thank you.
week you guys can look forward to our 200th episode where we will be breaking down a video game. I butchered that. We will be breaking down the video game Jedi: The Fallen Order.
Nope. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order.
Star Wars, whatever. I tried.
I love this show. By the way, guys, thanks for the first and only surprise party I've ever had. Like, this is amazing. Like, this is the funnest ambush.
That was the best part of my day.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I am rarely genuinely shocked. And that was I was shocked because I was like, that's hilarious. He made this audio file for Caleb to play. And then when you showed up, I was like, I can't believe this is happening. This is so good. Did Rose know, or were you like, we don't need you tonight, Rose?
No, so Rose knew.
You can take the day off.
Yeah, Rose knew. He just, I said, just got held up at work, and so it just kind of worked out perfect.
I was gonna
That's
say,
so
you know
funny.
what? The not that I wish Rose was here, doing the breakdown with us today, but I think him not being able to make it just made it that much easier too, because Caleb was able to say, well, Rose isn't here, but I've got my special guest, and we were like, oh, that sounds so much better than what the hell we had planned before. So,
Yeah.
Wait, there was another ambush plan in the works?
No, so what we were going to do with Rose, we were going to just do the normal intro, and be like, and we are joined by our honorary, or our unofficial third host, and then just have Vic interrupt you. It was basically the same thing, but minus Rose.
We just didn't have the Quentin Tarantino skills to pull off a good script.
No, dude, I cannot wait to hear this again, because
Same.
I almost wish that this was video, or this was streamed somewhere, because I would love to see my own dumb face, because I'm like, wait, what? Huh?
Dude, I could tell. I wish I
just wish I
recorded
could have.
this.
I know. I was gonna say, I wish I could have seen hearing DJ's voice, hearing his voice, and the whole him reacting to me, as I kept going, was in my head just painted such a funny picture. But I wish I could have seen that. That's why I tried my damnedest to get onto the video chat as soon as I could, and to see him still shocked.
That was amazing. I love it.
Yeah,
I'll take the shock any day.
I loved it. You could tell the instant you realized that it was actually him and not a recording. It's great.
Good stuff, man. That was good stuff.
All right, well, we'll catch you guys next week. And until then, this has been the All Bros podcast with special guest and unofficial third hosts, or DJ and Vic. So we will catch you guys next time. Deuces.
So long. Rose.
I tried it. It wasn't as good.